Okay, so we're going to have a wee look at lower abdominal weakness. So what tends to happen is your hip flexors that run sort of from the front of your pelvis, connect into the small of your back, pull the pelvis forwards on the anterior tilt of the pelvis. So makes my bum stick out, makes the tummy protrude forward, causes a bit of tightness in the lower back and tightness in the quads. And a lot of times that's where, to say, from an aesthetics perspective, you've got a wee pouch here. Even if the body fat's down, you've got a wee pouch at the front here. So what we're trying to get to do is to tilt the pelvis, this is going through exercises, tilt the pelvis back in a wee bit more neutral position, and then we'll get these lower abdominal muscles strengthened. This can also be, if you're finding when you're doing more abdominal exercises and it's annoying your lower back, it might be because of weakness in the lower abdominals as well. So first thing we need to do is stretch the hip flexors off. So one of my favourite ones for that is pop your foot on. I've got a bench here, you can use a chair, a stool. So I've got my right knee up, my left foot forward. Then from here, just be careful, if you're really tight, this might be a bit too tough to come out of. So just come up nice and slow. To say if you're really tight, you might only get to here. Ideally, we want to get you fully extended up. And then I'm going to just think about gliding this front knee forward. Like that, and that's giving my right hip flexor a really good stretch off, just to try and take all that tension out of the hip flexor. And you can either do a static hold, or if I'm doing it before a workout, I would do more dynamic stuff. So I was going to go for a run or do some weights, I would do a dynamic one here, just to gradually open up that hip flexor. If I'm stuck at my desk all day, there's a good chance this will be quite tight. Then the next one, just to strengthen the glutes up a wee bit, is a hip raise. So lying on my back, I'm just going to raise my hips up, squeeze the bum, and then come back down again. So again, this is doing a wee bit of dynamic stretch on the hip flexors and strengthening and firing the glutes up as well. So that would be my two corrective exercises. And then in terms of working on the lower abdominals, I'm going to look at some pelvic rocks first. So if I'm lying flat on the back, this is me just in a normal neutral position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pelvis and tilt it forward. So I've tilted my pelvis forward, and now there's a big gap that I could fit my hand in between my lower back and the floor. So an anterior tilt of the pelvis, now a posterior one, we're going to pull back up and flatten back down. So this can be a nice wee way just to waken the abdominal muscles up and loosen the lower back off. Like that. So just gently rock back and forward, like that. Then I'm going to work at neutral positions. This is really important to understand what we're doing here. So neutral position is halfway between the two tilts. So there's my big tilt, that's me flat on the floor. Now I'm halfway between. I'm going to imagine I've just got a wee tight pair of trousers on. I'm going to gently pull the stomach on, and that's me sitting in neutral position. A bit more snug for my hand to fit in there, but I'm not forcing my back onto the ground. My first step would be, can I do a heel glide, where I'm just straightening my leg out and switching from side to side. And as I'm doing this one, it's really important that my lower back doesn't lift up. Like that. So if you're finding the stomach's really working hard here and it's a challenge to keep the back from lifting off, this is your exercise, this is the level we're at just now. If that's quite comfortable, we'll move to a tabletop. So a tabletop is I lift one foot up, then the other one, so I've got my knees at a 90-degree angle here, and I can just hold that, palms facing up, hold that for about 30 to 45 seconds. And if I can do that, I'm ready for the next level. So the next level is going to be a single leg heel tap. So a single leg heel tap, just start bringing one heel towards the ground. And all I'm thinking about here is at what point does my lower back start curving off. So if it's here, that's the exercise. Don't go any further than that, because you'll just end up annoying your lower back. If I can get all the way to the ground, and then once you start mastering that, and you can do them quite comfortably, maybe 30 to 40 reps of that, then look at 2 feet. So obviously I'm now taking the weight of 2 legs at one time, which is quite a big jump up. So yeah, if you're doing it again, just same principle. If it's tough, just do the wee small movement. If I'm doing well with it, I can make it a longer lever, which makes it a lot harder. And then my next thing would be I might start taking a weight and bringing the arms and legs away from each other. So that's a quick guide on how to strengthen the lower abdominals, fix the tight hip flexors, and hopefully if you're doing Pilates type exercises, it'll make a wee bit more sense. Any questions, just let me know.